available 24/7 to help solve issues. Call me 3 a.m. on a Sunday morning, I don't care.
A cross-pollination of Thomas Edison and Tony Stark, Elon Musk.
Were you a little naive when you thought I can easily build an electric car and a rocket?
I didn't think it would be easy. Like I said, I thought they would probably fail. But you know, like creating a company is almost like having a child. So it's sort of like, how do you say your child should not have food?
So once you have the company, you have to feed it and nurse it and take care of it, even if it ruins you.
Yeah.
But there was some tough times in 2008, end of 2008. How did you get through that period of crisis?
Can we just break for a second? Yeah, sure, if it was worth it. Sure, if it was worth it. It's everything. And I was borrowing money from friends to pay the rent. Well, I mean, Tesla really faced a severe threat of death due to the Model 3 production ramp. Essentially, the company was bleeding money like crazy, and just if we didn't solve these problems in a very short period of time, we would die. And it was extremely difficult to solve them.
How close to death did you come?
Within single-digit weeks.
22 hours a day?
Absolutely, yes. It's significant. Sleeping on packaging. I worked everywhere from the paint shop, general assembly, body shop.
Do you ever worry about yourself imploding? Like just too much?
Absolutely. No one should put this many hours into work. This is not good. I should not work this hard. It's very painful. It's because it hurts my brain, my heart.
Where do you come up with your best ideas? Are you on vacation, or are you kind of just like in the middle of the night you wake up and start drawing things down? Or?
You know, sounds really cliche, but like the shower is probably like wake up and go to shower in the morning. And I think actually what's really happened is kind of stuff is percolated in the subconscious, and it's not really occurring in the shower, but you're kind of getting the results of last night's computation, basically.
Right.
Whatever area that you get into, given that even if you're the best of the best, there's always a chance of failure. So I think it's important that you really like whatever you're doing. If you don't like it, life is too short. I'd say, and also if you like what you're doing, you think about it even when you're not working. I mean, it'll just it's something that your mind is drawn to, and if you don't like it, you just really can't make it work, I think.
When you had that third failure in a row, did you think, I need to pack this in?
Never.
Why not?
I'll never give up. I mean, I'd have to be dead or really incapacitated. Starting a business, I'd say, number one is have a high pain threshold. That's it. There's a friend of mine who's got a good saying, which is that starting a company is like eating glass and staring into the abyss. Okay, that's generally what happens, because when you first start a company, there's lots of optimism and things are great, and then so happiness at first is high. Then you encounter all sorts of issues, and happiness will steadily decline, and then you'll go through a whole world of hurt. And then eventually, if you succeed, and in most cases you will not succeed, and Tesla almost didn't succeed, they're very close to failure. Then if you succeed, then after a long time you will finally get back to happiness. I think too is you've got to make sure that whatever you're doing is a great product or service. That it has to be really great. And I go back to what I was saying earlier, where if you're a new company, I mean, unless it's like some new industry or new market that, if it's an untapped market, or then you have more ability to, the standard is lower for your product or service. But if you're entering anything where there's an existing marketplace against large entrenched competitors, then your product or service needs to be much better than theirs. It can't be a little bit better, because then you put yourself in the shoes of the consumer, and they say, why would you buy it as a consumer? You're always going to buy the trusted brand unless there's a big difference. So a lot of times, entrepreneur will come up with something which is only slightly better, and it's not. It can't just be slightly better. It's got to be a lot better. Number 3, I'd say, is constantly seek criticism. A well thought out critique of whatever you're doing is as valuable as gold, and you should seek that from everyone you can, but particularly your friends. Usually your friends know what's wrong, but they don't want to tell you because they don't want to hurt you. So
lift you up so you're
so they'll say, oh, I would encourage my friend, so I'm not going to tell him what I think is wrong with this product. It doesn't mean your friends are right, but very often they are right. And you at least want to listen very carefully to what they say. And to everyone, you're looking for, basically, you should take the approach that you're wrong. That you, the entrepreneur, are wrong. Your goal is to be less wrong.
Almost 7 years ago now, I started this most incredible journey called Amazon.com. Actually, and I had phoned a lawyer on the way to Seattle from a cell phone. And he said, well, what do you, to incorporate the company? He said, what do you want the company to be called? And I said, Cadabra. And he said, Cadaver? And I knew that was a bad name. We changed it a few months later.
I don't know, even at the smallest scale, you have to figure out how to get help from your friends, from your family members, from people that you can hire in those early days. I think without that, it would never work.
What we're really focused on is thinking long term, putting the customer at the center of our universe, and inventing. Those are the 3 big ideas to think long term, because a lot of invention doesn't work. If you're going to invent, it means you're going to experiment, you have to think long term. So these 3 ideas, customer centricity, long-term thinking, and a passion for invention, those go together. That's how we do it, and by the way, we have a lot of fun doing it that way. I think to some degree, you follow your passions and then wait, you have to hope the wave catches you. I was always interested in computers. I was always interested in software. I was always a big reader. And so it wasn't, which made me alert to things like the internet and the possibility that you could build a bookstore online that would have universal selection. I think everybody has their own passion, their own thing that they're interested in, and then you're very alert to things that are in the sphere of influence of that passion.
So your passion has led you to change the world for everyone else, but yet you've got work, you've got business inspirations, and why I can't see it like you just rested.
Well, I love what I do. I also have 4 kids. I have a wife that I love. I have a lot of passions and interests, but one of them is, at Amazon, the rate of change is so high. I love that. I love the pace of change. I love the fact that I get to work with these smart teams. People I work with are so smart, and they're self-selected, loving to invent on behalf of customers. And so, it's not, do I love every moment of every day? No, that's why they call it work. There are things that I don't enjoy, but if I'm really objective about it, and I look at it, I'm so lucky to be working alongside all these passionate people. And I like it. Why would I go sit on a beach?
You should wake up worried, terrified every morning. But don't be worried about our competitors, because they're never going to send us any money anyway. Let's be worried about our customers and stay heads down focused. it's hard work. So it's easy to have ideas. It's very hard to turn an idea into a successful product. There are a lot of steps in between. It takes persistence and relentlessness. So I always tell people who are entrepreneurs, you need a combination of stubborn relentlessness and flexibility. You have to move into the niche. Basically, you need to be stubborn on your vision, because otherwise it would be too easy to give up. But you need to be very flexible on the details, because as you go along pursuing your vision, you'll find that some of your preconceptions were wrong. You're going to need to be able to change those things. So I think taking an idea successfully all the way to the market and turning it into a real product that people care about and that really improves people's lives is a lot of hard work. It doesn't make sense for us to think of it as a pitched battle. You know, sometimes people think about business as it's kind of like a sporting event. There's a winner and a loser.
It's not a zero-sum game.
It usually isn't. I'm sure there are cases where, but most often, industries succeed. So I can tell you, I think e-commerce is succeeding. And the way we think about it, nobody else has to fail for us to do well. I think ebooks is like that. I think there are going to be many winners. I think ebooks is going to be a huge industry.
Thing for companies is you need to be nimble and robust. So you need to be able to take a punch, and you also need to be quick and innovative and doing new things at a high speed. That's the best defense against the future. And you have to always be leaning into the future. If you're leaning away from the future is going to win every time. Never, ever, ever lean away from the future. We all have adversity in our lives. I doubt if you really, if you know somebody, any friend or anybody that you talk to, there's no lack of adversity, and by the way, that's good, because it's what teaches us how to get back up. You fall down, you get back up. It always happens, and you get certain gifts in life, and you want to take advantage of those. But I guess my advice on adversity and success would be to be proud not of your gifts, but of your hard work and your choices. So, you may be, the kinds of gifts you get in life, you might be really good at math. It might be really easy for you. That's a kind of gift. But practicing that math and taking it to the next step, that could be very challenging and hard, and take a lot of sweat. That's a choice. You can't really be proud of your gifts because they were given to you. You can be grateful for them and thankful for them. But your choices, you choose to work hard. You choose to do hard things. Those are choices that you can be proud of. You can choose. We all get to choose our life stories, and it's the choices that define us, not our gifts. Everybody in this room has many gifts. I have many gifts. You can never be proud of your gifts because they're gifts. They were given to you. You might be tall, or you might be really good at math, or you might be extremely beautiful or handsome, or there are many gifts, and you can only be proud really of your choices, because those are the things that you are acting on. And one of the most important choices that each of us has, and you know this just as well as I do, is you can choose a life of ease and comfort, or you can choose a life of service and adventure. And when you're 80, which one of those things do you think you're going to be more proud of? You're going to be more proud of having chosen a life of service and adventure. I've always been focused. When I was in Montessori school, the Montessori school teacher told my mom that I wouldn't switch tasks, and they got me to switch tasks by picking me up, including my chair, and just moving me to the new task station. I've gotten a little better about that over the years, but task switching is still a problem for me. On the internet today, you know, 2 kids in their dorm room can reinvent an industry. That's how it could, because the heavy lifting infrastructure is in place for that. Today, 2 kids in their dorm room can't do anything interesting in space. You know, you could build a CubeSat. There's not that much interesting about CubeSats. And that may change, but right now, there's just, there are certain laws of physics and certain things you need size for, and things need to be big. We need to be able to put big things in space at low cost. And so, if I'm 80 years old and I can say to myself that Blue Origin did the heavy lifting, you know, I'm using my Amazon winnings to do a new piece of heavy lifting infrastructure, which is low cost access to space. Vehicles have to be reusable. You can't throw them away. Throw away space vehicles every time, you're never going to lower the cost. So we're trying to lower the price of admission into space so that thousands of entrepreneurs can then do amazing, surprising things. Nobody in 1995,
so it's not that much. Just
nobody in '95 predicted
travel.
Snapchat. Right. You know, I can't predict for you what amazing entrepreneurs, brilliant, amazing entrepreneurs will do in space. But I know if I give them low-cost access to space, some brilliant, you know, 22-year-old is going to figure it out.
It's one of those things about what companies get sustainable. It's those that provide platforms upon which others can build. Amazon does it,
empower
Apple does
others,
it,
empower others to do things. So AWS is like that. Kindle Direct Publishing is like that. Our third-party selling business is like that. Fulfillment by Amazon is like that. Every time you figure out some way of providing tools and services that empower other people to deploy their creativity, you're really onto something. What motivates me when times are rough? You know, I find if I'm stressed about something, it's usually because I'm not doing anything about it. And so if I'm stressed about something, I'm trying to figure out, why am I stressed? I'm listening to my body as a signal that something is awry. And then I find that the stress goes away the second I take the first step of identify the source of the stress. Why am I stressed about this? What's going on? And then, talk to somebody about it. Find allies. I would say that if you can find friends who are interested in similar things or want to help you solve a problem, problem solving is inspiring for me all by itself. As long as I have allies, there's nothing more fun than getting in a room with a group of inventors and saying, look, here's the problem. Let's invent a solution to it. And as soon as you start doing that, I find that it turns from something that might create stress into something that creates fun.